Okay, so this recap will be a little more different than the ones I already done. Since this season has 19 episodes and is very more story-based, unlike BFB, I think it will be way better if, instead of going episode by episode, I list off the character arcs and the way they happen chronologically. This season has 3 teams and each of them has a main story arc, so I'll start with the Sinkers, which I think is the most basic to explain.
Is he gay or European?
Since they are the only returning players, Nickel, Balloon, and Box made an alliance. Most of the time they couldn't get along and believed that the only thing that was keeping them together was Box's existence in the game. But after Box got out because of a medical emergency, they actually got closer with time and ended up being good friends. Although it's important to mention that they never really talk about what happened in Season 2, this will come to bite later.
You should try not to talk so much, my dear. You'll sound far less stupid that way.
Silverspoon doesn't like Kendall because she's better than him, so he's jealous. But then Kendall saved his life somehow with a power called the Inner Flame. Now they have a powerful alliance that lasts throughout the game, and not only that, Silverspoon shows to have interest in learning about the Inner Flame so he can have this power for himself too.
My file says throw dirt.
Finn realizes that Cabby has files on literally everyone there, so they confront her about it. Cabby dismisses their concerns about privacy and manipulation by just saying that it's for the good of the team. After succeeding in eliminating Fan, her and Test Tube have lots of arguments about the usage of her files. Though Cabby eventually tries to make an alliance with her, called the Smart Alliance, since they were technically the most intelligent players there. But this completely backfired once Test Tube grabbed all her files and showed them to everyone to expose her. But in her elimination, something very interesting happens.
Not yet. I need more answers. Your answers! How are you alive? Why are you here? What are you?
Hate to break this magical moment, but oopsies, look at the time.
Bye-bye, Cabby.
Which perfectly leads us to the first plot arc after the teams are rearranged.
If I had a nickel for every time
There's a well-written trans character in II.
I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
The teams are now rearranged into 2 because the Sinkers were ultimately outnumbered. And in the new Pinkers, we have pretty much the best story arc on this whole season. May I say one of the best in the whole show? Which is crazy because this show peaks at the middle. It's crazy. I never seen that. Shows normally peak at the start or the end. This show peaks in the middle. It's insane. But anyways, it is shown ever since the first episode that Bo is not very normal now. Every time someone mentions chairs or marshmallows, she kind of doesn't really understand it. It's kind of like the word sounds all glitched out to her. So in one specific episode, Kendall was doing aura readings, and she couldn't find one for Bo. And at the end of the episode, we get this scene.
When I attempted to read your friend's aura, I faced a complication. Something was wrong.
What do you mean?
Goo. She has no aura.
Fucking clinker.
Anyways, in the next episode, she's seen with a hat to not show her open fracture. Anyways, in this episode, they hit the second tower, and when everyone was about to die, it is important to show that Test Tube was trying to save Bo. And that was really strange because Test Tube never even interacted with Bo in this season. I don't think they did. So take note of that. That will be important later. And when Miphone tried to bring them all back, all at the same time, they were body swaps, so yeah, this is a body swap episode. But anyways, I just said that because in the clip I'm about to show you, the characters are swapped. So when you see Clover, that's actually Test-Tube, and when you see Silver Spoon, that's actually Kendall. You can tell by their voices, but I'll just say it so it's not confusing for y'all. The only reason why I'm showing the clip instead of just saying what happens is because I genuinely think that this is probably the best scene out of the entire season, and sums up perfectly what happens, so I'll just put it in.
Bo, there's something I've been meaning to talk to you about regarding your aura.
Yeah, it's missing. I know. And that's not all I figured out. Test Tube, why'd you save my life earlier?
Because I had to.
Because you had to. You knew MePhone couldn't bring me back. You knew I came back a different way. A way you didn't want me to know. That is why your luck burnt my file.
Bo? Please, just let me explain. Your death was a tragedy, Bo. Fan never accepted it, so neither could I. But with my technical ability and his knowledge of all the things he used to do and say, we saw an opportunity to right a wrong and solve the problem. It wasn't easy, especially since, well, not too long ago, we went through another loss. And we know that they could never come back to us, which is when we realized maybe you could give us someone to care for again.
So when Bo was invited to this island, you brought her along. But weren't you worried some might not believe she was really back?
No. Because essentially, you're the same Bo they knew and loved. The only difference is that robotic shell you're in now.
So you're saying I'm the same as Bo, but a robot? A Bobot?
Yes. I'm sorry, I've been looking for the right time to—
Bo and I aren't the same, though. There are things from her life I can't remember, or hear, or see.
I adjusted the program to block out everything related to how you died. That way, nothing could ever remind you.
Nothing could have reminded me, because I don't have her mind. Just because you programmed me with some catchphrases she used to say doesn't make me her.
Please, Bo, just—
I'm sorry for whatever loss you went through, but right now, you're very lucky. Because at the end of the day, MePhone could put you all back in your own bodies. But me, I'll be stuck here, in a body that isn't mine, because I'm not Bo.
Shh. I feel it coming to the surface. Couldn't sense it before, but it was always there.
What is? Are you saying that Bo does have an aura?
Weren't you listening? That is not Bo. Yet those expectations repress the aura, the true self, until now.
But how do you know?
Well, how do I know that you're Test-Tube?
Because I know.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Clover, have you seen, Hey, I'm a real hypocrite. I got so mad at Cabby for expecting everyone to be exactly how she wrote them to be. And here I was, expecting you to be exactly how I programmed you to be. Look, I know I can't make up for what I did, but I want to use whatever I can offer to help you be you.
Then it sounds like we're on the right track.
What's going on here? We need to...
Please, MePhone, don't make me go back out there.
In the course of the next few episodes, she managed to change her appearance and also her voice, thanks to her being a robot and all. They also changed their name to Bot, and now they go by them.
Yes, but how much longer till your luck runs out?
Throughout this season, Nico has been very judgmental of Clover because of her luck, believing that her luck was a curse upon all of them. But Clover realized that the only bad part about her luck is that no one else gets to have it. So during her elimination, she wishes Nico good luck. And in the next episode, everything is going well for him because Clover wished him luck for the rest of his life. And Nico absolutely hates it because he still thinks that the luck is a curse. For strategic purposes, Kendall and Silver Spoon try to break Balloon and Nico apart, but it turns out Nico was already questioning his friendship with Balloon because of the whole luck thing. He was questioning if they were ever really friends or if it was just the luck keeping them together at the very end. Balloon ended up hearing Nico talking about how he is questioning their friendship and he got really sad. So Balloon and Nico are now not allies anymore. But in this episode, Nico also died, so since Clover wished him good luck for the rest of his life, he now doesn't have the luck anymore because he died. Okay, now we can finally talk about the merge.
This not in files, but is in life. What do? What do?
Cabby wins a rejoin challenge at the very start of the merge. And by the way, this isn't really related to the Cabby plot, but I didn't know when to say this. But Flory, since he can't be eliminated, he is now the co-host because they couldn't get him out of the island since he is the island. Anyways, this little scene just sums up everything this plot has to say, and now getting to how I feel about this plot a little later on.
Paintbrush, please, I'm just trying to give you the support you've always needed. Meanwhile, all Lightbulb ever gave you was a hard time with her leaps in logic.
And the courage to start taking those leaps.
You're right. She did give you more. I should have remembered. She gave you that cute crab that you left at the hotel since concerts are too loud for him, right? Oh, what was his name?
Cabby.
No, I'm Cabby. That much I can remember without looking. I'm sorry. I know this. Here, Bex.
You really rely on those, don't you?
Without them, I wouldn't remember anything.
What? No way. You're full of facts.
In here, not here. Once I write it down, it's as good as gone. No wonder Paintbrush doesn't want to be partners. I have nothing to offer.
Now, I think that this approach with, instead of making out Gabby's files to be a way of manipulation and invasion of privacy, and spinning that into a way for her to function like a disability of sorts, I thought that was very, very interesting, and I still think it has potential to become a very interesting plotline. The problem is they don't really go anywhere with this plot. I mean, they do go somewhere, but I'll tell you later. I'll tell you later. Alright, now this episode. Yeah, we'll have to talk about this one separately. There's like 3 different plot lines happening at the same time, so I'll have to talk about this one in more detail. The episode starts with them saying that they're partnering up with this little mascot capitalism thing. The challenge is to separate into 3 groups of 2, and they will have to solve puzzles, and they will also see perfect toy replicas of their friends to simulate drama. But anyways, let's just start with what Silver Spoon and Yin Yang did. Silver Spoon tried to encourage Yin Yang to be more aggressive towards things because he had been quote-unquote watered down by Candle. And when they see the toy replica of her, Silver Spoon insists in saying that she was just holding them both back. But of course, it was just to get further in the game, so when they both complete the challenge, he was the one to take immunity. But now with Cabby and Bot. Cabby wanted to know more about Bot because all her character arc was entirely done when Cabby wasn't there, so now she wants to know more about them. Didn't really feel comfortable with talking about her life while somebody writes it down, so she just made up a bunch of stories. They both later see the toy replica of Test Tube, the one who had not only betrayed Cabby but also is kind of a mother figure to Bot. And strangely enough, it was Bot who was most afraid to face her, thinking it was the real Test Tube. Now, the reason why Bot is very afraid of Test Tube seeing them like this was because in the last time Test Tube saw them, they were still pink with the same voice as Bo, if I'm not mistaken. So even though Test has seemed to be very supportive of all the changes Bot has made, Bot is still afraid that Test wouldn't really like the idea of their creation being so far from what they were meant to be. Now, I see a lot of people critiquing the scene online because it doesn't really make sense for Bot to be afraid of Testub not supporting them. But as someone who had to come out with two very supportive parents and was still very nervous and afraid, I can relate to that sentiment, and I honestly just really appreciate it. Anyways, they find out the Testub is fake, and Bot agrees on talking about herself to Cabby if Cabby promises she won't write it down, saying that if Cabby forgets what Bot said to them, they will just tell her another time. Now we go to Balloon and Nickel. They really quickly made up for all the stuff that they were going through earlier in the whole luck thing. And during the little puzzles, they ended up remembering a lot of things that happened in Season 2, and Nickel was just portraying them as fun things that happened in the past, such good times. But anyways, after seeing a perfect toy replica of Suitcase, Balloon finally grows a brain.
You okay, bud?
I thought I saw. She would have hated this!
Huh?
Suitcase! Her, baseball, us two, you're making it feel all warm and fuzzy, but it sucked!
There were rough times, but, you know, for the most part...
Suitcase stood up for me. She was the only one strong enough to fight back against you. You'd always make us feel awful for no good reason, and I'm not going to let you erase that! Pretending everything's hunky-dory just makes everything build up and explode, okay? I never wanted to work with you again.
If you didn't want to make things better, why'd you spend all day acting like they were?
I don't know, it keeps things easy. With Silver and Candle, with you.
I get it, I sucked. But guess what? People wouldn't have avoided you if you didn't try manipulating everyone to get your way when we all first met. The difference is, I'm trying to make things feel better. Not like we can do anything about it now.
You can say sorry.
What? Suitcase?
Nickel!
What are you doing?
I'm sorry. When someone like you, who doesn't like most people, wanted to hang out with me, it was exciting. I don't want to lose that.
Don't do this.
Huh?
You just said you don't want to be my friend, and then you keep stringing me along? I never know if it's the real you or the fake you. And that's always been my problem. It's always been Balloon. And I'm done with it.
Good luck at the vote tonight.
Yeah, I really love this scene. I just hate what they do with it the next episode. I think that Balloon acknowledging the total abuse that was happening in Season 2 was pretty cool, but I also think that this was something that should have been mentioned earlier, but you know, better now than ever. Anyways, the capitalism thing liked Bot's character design so much he wanted to make a bunch of robot replicas of her to turn into toys. But since Bot was literally a replica of someone else, they were really against the idea and then ended up convincing Mifon to cut off the partnership. But not before Flory was able to avoid them. And they also got the last good character in the show eliminated this episode. Right, now this episode, two good things happen here. Blueberry rejoins the game and it is revealed that he actually is pretty strategic. But that was ruined in the very next episode. And the second good thing is that Nickel gets therapy and starts to realize that he was the bad one in the whole situation in Season 2, which was also ruined in the very next episode. But after that, they do a very interesting take on the Cabby plot.
Listen, Bot, I just wanted to ask you something about my files.
No, Cabby. I'm sorry I made you think you needed permission to use something that helps you.
But I completely mischaracterized you. You had a right to be offended.
But we talked about it, and you listened, and I don't want you to forget that. I added some art, too. I'm more of a visual learner. Hope it helps.
It's you.
Alright, it's not that I don't like that they went back into making the whole file more of a disability thing. It's just that the indecisiveness of this whole plotline angers me so freaking much. I do think that ending it off by saying that Cabby's files are something that helps her, so it shouldn't be something she has to be ashamed of, is a good message. But the way it was executed, it was really weird and very rushed. Because in one episode, Bot is against the usage of her files because it makes people uncomfortable. And in the very next episode, she's actually fine with it. It actually makes a file for her. It's so weird. It's so rushed. I think this plotline could have worked if it was less rushed, if there were more episodes, but honestly, I just don't really like this plotline at all, because at some points they do make it like the Cabby's disability is something she has to deal with. Like, she can't do anything to help it, she just has to deal with it, because every time she tries to do something that helps her, other people get uncomfortable. So I really don't like that message. As someone with autism who uses sound blocking headphones, I think that's the name. I don't know, I'm Brazilian. I don't know the name in English, but it's like that little headphone thing. I use that, and if someone said they were uncomfortable by it, I wouldn't just stop using it. I think that's a pretty bad message. So I am glad they changed from that, but it just felt so weird and not very natural. Alright, so in the next episode, they have to go really far, and Blueberry takes the only vehicle available because he's Blueberry. He's based. And that led to the worst conclusion of a plotline I've ever seen in an object show.
Since we're gonna die anyway, Nickel, I have to know. You've spent all day convincing us to work together, pumping up Silver when he's down, even running back to help save Cabby without any hesitation, but you spent so long tormenting me, bringing me down! What did I do to you to deserve that?
Balloon, none of this is your fault. It's mine, completely. I was honestly just scared to be manipulated, to fall for your old tricks, so I put a wall up, sure, but that fear transformed into something I didn't even recognize. I was awful to you, and I'm genuinely, really sorry. I'm not that same person anymore, but you don't owe me forgiveness. I totally understand.
Okay, so they don't really say if Balloon did or did not forgive him, but considering how in the very next episode they are besties, buddy, it is very fair to assume that they are friends again. So let's talk about that. I absolutely hate that they became friends again. I think that Balloon's concerns about Nickel making the whole situation in season 2 to be just fun and games, to be very valid, and I hate that he forgave him so fast, because it might have seemed like it, but this was only 2 episodes later, their fight. It was so rushed. It was so rushed. I'd much rather if they just never stayed friends again. I know this would have upset the shippers, but I really don't care. Imagine how good of an ending it would have been if Nickel did apologize, but Balloon didn't accept the apology because he doesn't really have to. Balloon isn't all his rights to not accept the apology. And I just think that would have been such a great message that even if someone does feel bad about what they did, it doesn't exactly mean they deserve your forgiveness. And I think that would have left it pretty good. They are in good terms, but they aren't enemies, but they aren't friends. I think that would have been way better. But the way it ended was just so rushed and so weird and so unnatural, so forced. I hate how they made this very interesting part because I loved the fight they had in the episodes earlier. I hate how they ended it. Anyways, they immediately get Blueberry out because of some bullshit plot armor. Anyways, the very next episode is pretty much filler until the very end. So that gives me some time to talk about 2 plot lines I hadn't had the chance to talk about yet. Okay, so one thing that has been very consistent throughout the finale, especially after the merge, is that Mifune doesn't want the show to end because if the show ends, he has to go back to season 2 and he has to deal with all the problems going on, and he doesn't want to do that. Also, Silver Spoon unlocks the inner flame somehow. Remember at the very start where I said that he wants to have the inner flame too? Well, it's not shown how he got this. It's just like 3 episodes before the finale, he somehow got it. It's not explained really, it's just very out of nowhere. And at the very end of the episode, we have probably the worst strategic elimination yet.
You heard Silver and Cabby today. Everyone connects our games together. If she's willing to work with me, I think voting you out is the best shot I have at winning.
I mean, you're right, but you know, Balloon, typically when you do a blindside, you don't tell the person you're blindsiding.
Well, I thought you didn't want me to be fake with you.
You know what? I have one thing left to say to you, and this will be in earnest.
What? Surely there's a little sarcasm in there.
No, not a drop. Wish me luck.
You hate luck.
Oh my gosh, shut up. Okay, ready? Thanks, Balloon. I am so glad we connected. Your social game sure is strong.
Okay, so I didn't mention this earlier, but the winner is going to be decided by a jury vote. Imagine if Balloon was against Silver Spoon and Nickel. Nobody likes them. It doesn't make any sense that Balloon would rather work with Cabby instead of Nickel. It doesn't really make any sense. The excuse that Cabby would have worked with him doesn't really make sense because he knows the last episode's challenge will be a jury vote. It really doesn't make sense strategically to not keep Nickel beside him. Alright, so since there's not really major character development in these 2 final episodes, I'll try to speedrun this one so we can just get this done with. The capitalism guy teamed up with a bunch of nobodies, and now they are trying to hijack the show and kill Mifune. It is also revealed that Mifune never got a funding for a cash prize, so there's really no prize in this season. Silver Spoon used his powers, but instead of actually beating up the people who were trying to end the show, he ended up trying to beat up a woman because she didn't vote for him, besides them being in alliance together and pretty much the entire rundown of the show. And the fact that they thought against each other just made the hijackers capture everyone a lot more easily. But it turns out a lot of people didn't actually want to kill Mifune. A lot of them just wanted him to end the show, so they took a vote, and yeah, a majority vote says they didn't want Mifune to die. But the extremists still wanted to kill him. So because of that, the capitalism guy just ended up having a redemption arc out of no one and saving Mifune, but he's still alive. Anyways, they took the jury vote and Cabby ended up winning. Cantor and Silver Spoon actually made up, and it is implied that they are now a couple, kinda. Cappy got a Ryeberry as a prize, and Mifune finally ends the season. Hope y'all liked the recap!